Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Parsha Minute, coming to you live from Congregation Beth Yeshurun every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Be here or be square. We have a lovely time studying Parsha on Thursday mornings together through the teachings of my grandfather, blessed memory, Rabbi Wolbe, and his book, Wolbe on Chumash. In this week's Parsha, we see we see many laws. It's the first Parsha that starts listing off laws, one after another, and it's really it's mesmerizing when you see all of the incredible details that the Torah gives us to conduct in the proper way of ethics, and really we have forever been the example for the nations of proper conduct. What are we supposed to do? All of that, how we're supposed to act, all of that is taught in our Torah. So I want to talk about one specific thing that's in this week's Parsha. It's really very interesting, and the question is, how is this practical ever? So it talks about a ox that gores. And you imagine this, okay? If you ask a typical yeshiva student in Israel who spends 12 to 18 hours a day studying Talmud, what are you learning? And they'll tell you, oh, I'm still talking about oxes that gore. And you're like, what's the relevance of that, right? So there are a lot of practical applications. I want to give you one specific example that I saw this morning in a fantastic book written by Rabbi Alper. He says the following. Someone once came to one of the great European Hasidic masters, and said to him, this woman came and she said, I have a newborn baby, and for the past couple of weeks I noticed that during the week the baby nurses fine, but on Shabbos the baby does not nurse at all. And she's very concerned for the baby's health. The baby needs to eat, and on Shabbos the baby doesn't nurse. So the great soul master told the woman, on Shabbos, wear your weekday clothes. Wear your weekday clothes. So bizarre, but the rabbi said, so we'll do it. So the next Shabbos, she wears her weekday clothes, and the baby feeds no problem. And now she's like, how did the rabbi know this? I mean, last I checked, he wasn't a physician. Last I checked, what does the rabbi know about, clothes and psychology or whatever it is that tells him this? So she went to the rabbi and asked him, how did you know this? It worked like a charm. It was perfect. The baby nursed and everything was great. So he said, I learned from the Talmud that talks about oxes that gore. The Talmud says that an ox that gores on Shabbos but doesn't gore on the weekday, right? So the general rule is that an ox that gores 3 times is considered a damaging ox and needs to have extra precautionary measures placed, to secure it and not allow it to get out. So is that for all? If this animal gores 3 times, it gets a different status and is put to death if it gores after the 3rd time. And the master has certain responsibilities of what the master needs to pay for his neglect in not watching the animal. But the question is, does it become a mu'ad, which is let's call it an animal that has a propensity to gore, also for during the week? It means does the master also have to have that extra precaution for during the week? So what does the Talmud tell us? The Talmud tells us no. It's only for Shabbos, not for during the week. And you think, what's the difference between the Shabbos and the week, and the weekdays? So the Talmud tells us, because on Shabbos people dress differently. People dress differently for Shabbos. So the animal gets all confused. So he goes crazy. So for Shabbos is a different category of animal than during the week. And therefore, his status doesn't change for during the week, it only changes for Shabbos. So the rabbi said to the woman, he says, during the weekday, the baby is used to 6 days, you're dressed a certain way. Shabbos, suddenly you're all dressed up, he doesn't recognize you. So if you dress regularly, at least for when you need to feed the baby, you dress like you do during the week, now he recognizes you and he's able to feed. You see how one case about an ox goring leads to, okay. But the truth is like this, is that our sages tell us that for Shabbos, we're supposed to look differently, we're supposed to act differently, we're supposed to talk differently, we're supposed to carry ourselves differently. Shabbos is a completely different time, a different space. And, my grandfather said this many times about his rabbi, that his rabbi during the week would be very, very serious and have a very, a burden, the burden of a God-fearing Jew. And on Shabbos, you wouldn't recognize him because his face would shine. You didn't recognize my grandfather arrived to yeshiva on a Tuesday or Wednesday. He met the rabbi multiple times, and then Friday night he sees somebody sitting in the rabbi's seat. He's like, he went to one of the other students and says, we should tell that person to get out of the rabbi's seat. He says, no, that is the rabbi. He literally did not recognize him. The same person didn't recognize him from weekday to Shabbos. It says that we're supposed to have special clothes for Shabbos that we don't wear during the week. That means we don't wear it for dinners, we don't wear it for galas, we don't wear it it's just for Shabbos. Right? And it's interesting that they say about the Chafetz Chaim, Shabbos is an example of the end of times. Shabbos is also an example for the end of life, because we can work till Shabbos, and once Shabbos kicks in, that's it. There's nothing more we can do. So to a person during our lifetime, we can work, we can change, we can make peace, right? We can do a lot. But once God takes our soul, there's nothing we can change. There's nothing we can change. So it's important for us to recognize that we have to distinguish between the weekday, the mundane, and the Shabbos, the holy. And that's really the message here. The message is, if for the animals there's such an incredible difference between weekday and Shabbos, where they can recognize difference in the way we dress, and it can disorient them, shouldn't we also be able to tell the difference between Shabbos and weekday in ourselves, in the way we carry ourselves, in what we wear? We have we have clothes that are just for Shabbos, and we get ourselves ready for Shabbos, and we do everything differently for Shabbos. Right? And I think it's a special opportunity, because now in the next couple of weeks we're going to be learning about the building of the tabernacle, with the design of the tabernacle. And when you read through the Parsha, you'll notice that every time it talks about the tabernacle, it talks also about Shabbos. Building of the tabernacle, keep my Shabbos. Building of the tabernacle, keep my Shabbos. Do the drapes and the this and the that and everything for the tabernacle. Oh, and keep my Shabbos. And every time you talk about the tabernacle, you also have the reminder about Shabbos. And our sages understand from this that the 39 different categories of labor that were necessary for the construction and destruction and deconstruction of the tabernacle, for every time it traveled, they needed to take it apart and reassemble it. Those same labors are the labors that are prohibited on Shabbos. And we're going to actually take a journey through all the laws of Shabbos in our Sunday morning class at Congregation Bris Shalom at 11 a.m. And we're starting the first week in March, which is in a week and a half. And I'm really excited. I invite you all to join us. And we're going to also try to add a different element to the hour-long class discussing each specific law, is we're going to try to relate each of those laws not only to practical examples and application, but also to a trait that we can learn from each one of those laws. So with that, my friends, those of you who are not here at Congregation Beth Shalom but are on Facebook or on YouTube, sorry you can't join us for the rest of the class. But next week you can. Have a fantastic morning, and thank you for watching.